Welcome to my channel, Bookish English. What if one simple English sentence could become a full conversation? You don't need hundreds of challenging words. You only need to know how to keep one sentence moving. Today, I will show you how to begin little, add one idea at a time, ask simple questions, and turn several words into a natural conversation. Stay with me because by the end, you will see that speaking longer in English is much easier than you think. Chapter 1. The power of one simple sentence. You may think that a real English conversation begins with a long sentence. You may think you need many challenging words before you can speak with confidence, but this isn't true. Almost every conversation begins with something very little. Maybe you say, I am tired. Maybe you say, I like coffee. Maybe you say, it's hot today. Maybe you say, I am learning English. These sentences look simple, but they are powerful because each one can open the door to a longer conversation. The largest mistake isn't using simple English. The largest mistake is stopping after the first sentence. Imagine you meet someone and they ask, what do you like to do? You say, I like reading. That's already a great answer. You don't need to search your mind for a perfect sentence. You already have the beginning. Now your job is simple. Stay with that idea. Don't jump to a completely different topic. Take your first sentence and make it grow. Suppose you say, I like reading. Now ask yourself one simple question. What do I like to read? You can say, I like reading storybooks. Great. Now you have two sentences. Ask another simple question. When do I read? You can say, I usually read at night. Now you have three sentences. Ask, why do I read at night? You can say, because it assists me relax. Look what just happened. You began with only 4 words. I like reading, but now you're speaking much more. You didn't use challenging grammar. You didn't use advanced vocabulary. You simply added one little idea after another. This is one of the most significant secrets of conversation. You don't need to create 10 new topics. You must learn how to stay with one topic for a bit longer. Let us try another example. Begin with, I like coffee. Very simple. Now add one detail. I like coffee in the morning. Add another. I drink it before I begin work. Add another. It assists me feel awake. Add one more. Sometimes I drink coffee with my brother. Suddenly, one little sentence has become a conversation topic. Someone can now ask you, what kind of coffee do you like, or how many cups do you drink, or does your brother like coffee? This is how conversation grows. One sentence gives birth to another sentence. That sentence creates a question. The question creates another answer. And the conversation continues. This is why you should never look at a simple sentence and think, my English is too basic. Basic English isn't useless English. Basic English is the foundation of fluent English. Now, I want you to notice something significant. You probably already know hundreds of simple English words. You know words like home, work, food, friend, morning, evening, delighted, tired, like, want, go, come, eat, drink, study, and learn. The problem is often not that you know too few words. The problem is that you use one sentence and then stop. You say, I work in a shop, and then your mind becomes quiet. But what if you ask yourself, where is the shop? You can say, it's near my home. Ask, when do I work? I work there in the afternoon. Ask, do I like my work? Yes. I like it because I meet a great many folks. You're not learning a completely new language here. You're learning how to use the language that's already inside you. This is also why you should stop putting pressure on yourself to sound perfect. When you try to create one large, lovely, perfect sentence, your mind can become gradual. You begin thinking about grammar. You begin thinking about vocabulary. You begin worrying about mistakes. And then you say nothing. But when you give yourself permission to speak in short, clear sentences, everything becomes easier. I went to the market. Pause. I went there in the morning. Pause. I bought some fruit. Pause. The market was very busy. These are simple sentences, but together they communicate a complete idea. You can connect them later. First, learn to keep going. Here is a little practice you can do each and every day. Choose one sentence about your life. For example, I am tired today. Don't stop there. Add something. I am tired today because I slept late. Add something else. I was watching a movie last night. Add another idea. The movie was very interesting. Now you can ask yourself, What movie was it? Or who did I watch it with? You see, one sentence becomes 4 or 5 sentences very quickly. You can do the same with I like cooking. I study English each and every day. I have a busy job. Or I enjoy walking. Begin little. Add one idea, then add another. Remember this. Fluency doesn't begin when you can speak for 10 minutes without stopping. Fluency begins when you can say one sentence and find the courage to continue. One sentence becomes 2. 2 sentences become 4. 4 sentences can become a story, and that story can become a real conversation. So from today, never say I only know simple English. Instead, say I can begin with simple English, because simple English is enough to begin. And once you begin, you can always add one more sentence. Chapter 2. Add one little detail. Now you know that one simple sentence can be the beginning of a full conversation. But there's one question you may still have. What should I say after my first sentence? The answer is easier than you think. Add one little detail, that's all. You don't need to create a completely new idea. You don't need to search for challenging vocabulary. You only need to take the sentence you already have and make it a bit clearer. Imagine you say, I study English. That's a great sentence. Now add one little detail. I study English at home. You have already made your sentence more interesting. Add another detail. I study English at home every evening. Add one more. I study English at home every evening for 30 minutes. Now your listener knows what you do, where you do it, when you do it, and how long you do it. You beginned with only 3 words, but your idea is already growing. This is one of the easiest ways to speak longer without feeling lost. You can use several simple questions to find your next detail. Ask yourself, where, when, who, what, how, why. These questions are like little doors. Every question opens another part of your idea. Let us begin with a very simple sentence. I work. Ask, where? Maybe your answer is, I work in a little office. Ask, when? You can say, I work there from Monday to Friday. Ask, who do I work with? You can say, I work with 5 other people. Ask, do I like it? You might say, yes, I like my job because my coworkers are friendly. Look at how much you can say from the sentence I work. You didn't memorize a long speech. You simply asked yourself one little question at a time. Let us try this with another topic. Imagine someone asks you, what do you do in the evening? You answer, I watch TV. That answer is correct. But don't stop. Add a detail. I watch TV after dinner. Add another. I usually watch TV with my family. Add another. We like watching movies and funny shows. Add one more. My favorite movies are comedy movies because they assist me relax. Now your answer feels natural. More significantly, the other person has many things they can ask you. They can say, what is your favorite movie? Who chooses the movie? Do you watch TV each and every day, or what kind of shows does your family like? Details give a conversation somewhere to go. Without details, the conversation can quickly become quiet. This is especially useful when someone asks you a common question such as, where are you from? A beginner may say, I am from Pakistan, and then stop. But you can grow this answer very easily. I am from Pakistan. I live in a little city. It's usually busy during the day, but the evenings are peaceful. I like living there because my family is close to me. Notice something significant. None of these sentences are challenging. The words are simple. The grammar is simple. But together, they make your English sound much powerfuler. Speaking well isn't always about using impressive words. It's often about giving enough information to keep the listener interested. You can also add details about time. Time is one of the easiest ways to expand a sentence. Begin with, I exercise. Then say, I exercise in the morning. Add another time detail. I usually exercise at 7 o'clock. Then explain how often. I exercise 4 days a week. Now add why. I do it because I want to stay healthy. You have turned one short idea into a complete answer. You can use the same pattern for almost anything. I read. When? I read before bed. How often? Almost every night. What? Usually short English stories. Why? Because I want to improve my vocabulary. The significant thing isn't to memorize these exact answers. Learn the pattern behind them. Here is another powerful detail you can add. People. Instead of saying, I went shopping, say, I went shopping with my sister. Instead of saying, I had dinner, say, I had dinner with my family. Instead of saying, I played football, say, I played football with my friends. When you add people to your sentence, new questions become possible. Who is your sister? Where did you go shopping? What did your family eat? How often do you play football together? One little detail can create many new directions. This is how natural conversations continue. One person gives a detail. The other person becomes curious. Then another question comes. Now let us practice with food because food is a topic almost everyone can talk about. Begin with, I like rice. Add what kind? I like spicy rice. Add when? I usually eat it at lunch. Add who? My mother often makes it for our family. Add why? I like it because it has plenty of flavor. You can even add a memory. We usually eat it together on Sundays. Now you're not only answering a question, you are sharing a little part of your life. And that's what conversation really is. Conversation isn't a grammar test, it's two people sharing little pieces of their lives. Many learners believe they need to speak quick to sound fluent, but you don't need to rush. Speak one sentence. Pause for a moment. Add a detail. Pause again. Add another detail. For example, I went to the park yesterday. Pause. I went there in the evening. Pause. The weather was cool. Pause. I walked for about an hour. This gradual and clear style is much improved than trying to speak very quick and losing your words. Your goal isn't speed. Your goal is continuation. You want to train your mind to think, what little detail can I add next? You can practice this skill anywhere, even when you're alone. Look around your room and choose something. Maybe you see a book. Say, this is my book. Add a detail. It's an English book. Add another. I bought it last month. Add another. I read 10 pages every night. Add why. I read it because I want to improve my English in less than a minute. You have created 5 connected sentences from one object in your room. Then choose your phone, your chair, your window, your bag, or your cup. Every object can become a speaking exercise. You can also practice with things that happened during your day. Begin with, I went to work. Add where. Add when. Add who you met. Add what happened. Add how you felt. Maybe you say, I went to work at 8 o'clock this morning. The office was very busy. I had a significant meeting with my manager. At first, I felt nervous, but the meeting went well. After that, I felt much improved. This is already close to a little story, and you created it by doing only one thing, adding details. So, the next time you speak English, don't put pressure on yourself to say something astonishing. Begin with something simple and ask yourself one question. What detail can I add? Maybe it's where. Maybe it's when. Maybe it's who. Maybe it's why. Every little detail gives your English more life. Every extra sentence gives you more confidence. And the more often you practice this, the quicker your mind will learn to continue naturally. Soon, you won't need to force yourself to find the next sentence. Your mind will begin to look for details automatically. And that's when a short answer begins becoming a real conversation. Chapter 3. Use the magic question. Why? There's one little question that can make your English conversations much longer. That question is, why? It's only one word, but it is very powerful. When you ask why, you invite the other person to explain more. And when you ask yourself why, you give yourself a reason to continue speaking. Imagine someone asks you, do you like mornings? You say, yes, I like mornings. That's a great answer, but it can end very quickly. Now, add one simple question. Why? Your answer might be, because mornings are quiet. Then, you can continue. I can think clearly in the morning. I usually drink tea and read for several minutes. Look at what happened. One short answer became several sentences. You didn't need advanced English. You only needed one question that assisted your idea grow. Let us try another example. You say, I am learning English now. Ask yourself, why? Maybe your answer is, because I want to speak with more people. Great. Now ask why again. Because I want to travel and communicate easily. Ask one more time. Why is that significant to me? You might say, because I want to feel confident when I visit another country. Suddenly, you're not just saying that you study English, you're talking about your goals, your dreams, and your future. This makes your conversation more personal and more interesting. The word why takes you deeper into an idea. It assists you move from a simple fact to a real reason. The word that often comes after why is because. This is another very useful word for English learners. because assists you connect your idea with a reason. I like walking because it assists me relax. I study at night because my house is quiet. I drink water because I feel thirsty. I like this book because the story is simple. I watch English videos because I want to improve my listening. These are simple sentences, but they give more information. Compare these two answers. I like reading and I like reading because it assists me learn new things. Which one gives the listener more to talk about? Of course, the second one. Now the listener can ask, what do you like to read or what have you learned recently? One reason can create another question, and another question can create another answer. You can use why in almost every everyday conversation. Imagine you were talking about food. You say, I like homemade food. Someone asks, why? You answer, because it tastes fresh. Then you can add, my mother cooks very well, and we usually eat together. Now the conversation can move toward family, cooking, favorite meals, or traditions. Maybe you're talking about work. You say, I want to change my job. Someone asks, why? You say, because I want to learn something new. Then they might ask, what kind of work do you want to do? The conversation keeps moving. You can talk about hobbies, travel, movies, books, weather, clothes, study, work, family, or almost anything. Why gives every topic another layer. But here is something truly essential. Don't think that your answer to why needs to be long. A short reason is enough. If someone asks, why do you like this song? You can say, because it makes me delighted. That's enough. If they ask, why do you study in the morning? You can say, because my mind feels fresh. That's enough. 2. You can add more if you want, but you don't have to force yourself. Your first goal is simply to continue. One reason is improved than silence. One little explanation is improved than stopping after one sentence. You can also use why to show real interest in another person. Suppose your friend says, I want to learn cooking. You could simply say, that's nice, but the conversation may stop there. Instead ask, why do you want to learn cooking? Your friend may say, because I want to prepare my own food. Now you can ask, what do you want to learn first? Maybe they say, I want to learn how to make pasta. You can continue. Do you like Italian food? See how easily the conversation moves? You didn't prepare any of these questions before speaking. You simply listened carefully and became curious about the answer. Curiosity is one of the largest secrets of great conversation. You don't always need to be the most interesting person in the room. You must be interested in the person you're speaking with. When someone tells you something, don't immediately think, what should I say about myself? First think, what can I ask about this? If someone says, I went to the beach last weekend, you can ask, why did you decide to go? Who did you go with? Did you enjoy it? What did you do there? Their answers will give you more things to talk about. Great conversation isn't about giving perfect speeches, it's about creating a natural exchange between two people. Now let us turn this into a speaking exercise. Choose 5 simple statements about yourself. For example, I like tea. I study English. I enjoy Sundays. I like my city. I want to travel. After each sentence, ask yourself, why? Then answer using because. I like tea because it assists me relax. I study English because I want to speak confidently. I enjoy Sundays because I can spend time with my family. I like my city because my friends live here. I want to travel because I want to see new places. Do this aloud. Don't only think about the answers. Speak them. Your mouth needs practice just like your mind. After you become comfortable, go one step further. Add one more sentence after your reason. I study English because I want to speak confidently. I practice for 30 minutes each and every day. I enjoy Sundays because I can spend time with my family. We usually have lunch together. I want to travel because I want to see new places. I would love to visit different countries. Now your answers are becoming richer and more natural. You're training yourself to build conversations without memorizing them. Remember, when you feel that a conversation is becoming too short, use this little question. Why? Ask it to yourself. Ask it to the other person. Use because to explain your reason. Then add one more little detail. This simple habit can completely change the way you speak English. You will stop giving one-word answers. You will stop feeling that every topic ends too quickly. And most significantly, you will discover that you already have many things to say. Sometimes you only need the right question to bring those ideas out. Chapter 4. Learn to ask simple follow-up questions. A great conversation doesn't continue because one person knows thousands of words. It continues because both people know how to keep the topic moving. One of the easiest ways to do this is by asking follow-up questions. A follow-up question is a little question you ask after someone tells you something. Imagine your friend says, "I went to the market yesterday." You could simply say, "Okay." But if you say only "okay," the conversation may stop. Instead, you can ask, "What did you buy?" Your friend answers, "I bought some clothes." Now you can ask, "What kind of clothes?" Maybe your friend says, "I bought a new jacket." Then you can ask, "Was it expensive?" Look at what happened. You didn't change the topic. You didn't need challenging vocabulary. You simply listen to one sentence and ask about one part of it. That's the secret. You don't always need to think about a new topic. The person you're talking to is already giving you ideas. You only need to notice them. Many English learners become nervous during conversations because they are always thinking, "What should I say next?" This question creates pressure. Instead, change the question in your mind. Ask yourself, "What can I ask about what this person just said?" This is much easier. Suppose someone says, "I began a new job last week." You now have many simple questions available. Where do you work? What do you do there? Do you like it? Are your coworkers friendly? Is it far from your home? You don't need to ask all of these questions. Just choose one. Listen carefully to the answer and then choose another question naturally. If the person says, "Yes, I really like my new job," you can ask, "What do you like about it?" If they say, "My coworkers are very friendly," you can ask, "Do you work with a great many folks?" Every answer gives you a new door. You only need to open one door at a time. There are some very simple follow-up questions that you can use again and again. Really is one of the easiest. Someone says, "I am learning how to cook." You can say, "Really? What are you learning to cook?" You can say, "Really? What are you learning to cook?" Someone says, "I traveled last month." You can say, "Really? Where did you go?" Another useful question is, why. Someone says, "I want to wake up earlier." Ask, why. They might say, "Because I want more time in the morning." Then you can ask, "What do you want to do in the morning?" You can also use when, where, who with, how was it, what happened next, and do you like it? These questions are simple, but they are powerful because they invite the other person to say more. And when the other person says more, you have more ideas for your next question. Let us imagine a real conversation. Someone says, "I went to a restaurant last night." You ask, "Who did you go with?" They say, "I went with my family." You ask, "What did you eat?" They say, "We had chicken and rice." You ask, "Was it great?" They say, "Yes, it was delicious." You can now say, "That sounds nice. Do you go to that restaurant often?" They answer, "No, it was our first time." Now you can ask, "Would you go there again?" This conversation isn't challenging. The grammar is simple. The words are common, but the conversation feels natural because every question is connected to the last answer. This is exactly what you should practice. Stop thinking that every sentence must be special. Natural conversation is often made of very ordinary questions. There's another significant lesson here. Great conversation isn't only about speaking, it's also about listening. Sometimes learners are so busy preparing their next sentence that they stop listening to the other person. Then they miss the easiest opportunity to continue. Imagine someone says, "I went to my cousin's wedding on Sunday and it was very lovely." If you're listening carefully, you already have several things you can ask about. You can ask, "Where was the wedding? Was it a large wedding? What did you wear? Did you enjoy the food? Did you meet many relatives?" The information is already inside the sentence. You don't need to invent anything. Listening gives you your next question. You should also learn to react before asking another question. Little reactions make conversations feel warmer and more human. If someone says, "I passed my exam," you can say, "That's great," and then ask, "Was the exam challenging?" If someone says, "I am going on vacation next week," you can say, "That sounds exciting. Where are you going?" If someone says, "I had a very challenging day," you can say, "Oh, really? What happened?" These little reactions show that you care about what the other person is saying. They also give you a bit time to think. You don't need to answer immediately with a long sentence. A short reaction plus one simple question is enough to keep the conversation moving. Now think about what happens when someone asks you a question. You can also assist the conversation continue by giving an answer and then asking the question back. Someone asks, "What do you do on weekends?" You can say, "I usually stay home and relax. Sometimes I visit my friends. What about you?" That last question changes everything. Instead of trying to carry the conversation alone, you give the other person a chance to speak. Maybe they say, "I usually go out with my family." Then you can ask, "Where do you usually go?" This creates a natural back and forth rhythm. You speak, they speak, you ask, they answer, then they may ask you something. This is what real conversation feels like. Here is a very useful practice for you. Take one simple sentence and create 3 follow-up questions. For example, "I bought a new phone." What can you ask? When did you buy it? What kind of phone did you buy? Do you like it? Now try another sentence. "I began exercising." You can ask, when did you begin? Where do you exercise? Why did you begin? Another one. "I watched a movie yesterday." Ask, what movie did you watch? Who did you watch it with? Did you enjoy it? Do this each and every day with simple sentences. Your brain will gradually become quicker at finding questions. You can even turn this into a little game. Listen to someone speak in a video, podcast, or interview. Pause after one sentence and imagine you're talking to that person. What follow-up question would you ask? If they say, "I moved to a new city last year." Pause and ask, "Why did you move?" If they say, "I love reading." Ask, "What kind of books do you like?" If they say, "I am trying to learn English." Ask, "How do you practice?" This exercise trains you to listen actively. Over time, you will begin to hear possible questions automatically. Don't worry if your questions are simple. Simple questions are often the best questions. How was it can create a long answer. Why can open a whole new part of the conversation. What happened next can turn one sentence into a story. Do you like it can lead to opinions, reasons, and experiences. You don't need advanced grammar to be a great conversational partner. You need curiosity, attention, and the courage to ask one more question. And here is something that can completely change your confidence. You're not responsible for saying everything. A conversation is shared. You don't have to speak for 5 minutes without stopping. You don't have to impress the other person with challenging English. Your job is simply to take part. Say something, listen, ask a question, react, share a bit about yourself, then ask again. That's enough. So, the next time you're speaking English and you feel that your mind is becoming empty, don't panic. Listen to the last thing the other person said. Find one little detail inside it. Ask about that detail. Maybe you ask why, maybe you ask, who did you go with? Maybe you simply say, "Really? Tell me more." One simple question can save the conversation. One simple question can give you more time. And one simple question can turn a short exchange into several minutes of natural English. When you learn this skill, you stop feeling that you must carry the whole conversation by yourself. You simply learn how to keep the door open one question at a time. Chapter 5. Connect your ideas with simple words. Now you can begin with one sentence. Add details. Explain your reasons. And ask follow-up questions. But there's another little skill that can make your English sound much smoother. You must learn how to connect your ideas. Many beginners know enough words to speak, but their sentences sound separate. They say, "I woke up early. I was tired. I drank coffee. I went to work." Every sentence is correct, but the ideas feel broken. The great news is that you don't need advanced grammar to fix this. You only need several simple connecting words such as and, but, because, so, then, also, and after that. These little words assist your sentences stay together. Instead of saying, "I woke up early. I was tired. I drank coffee," you can say, "I woke up early, but I was tired, so I drank some coffee." The meaning is almost the same, but now your English sounds more connected and natural. Let us begin with one of the easiest words, and. We use and when we want to add another idea. You can say, "I went to the market and bought some fruit." You can say, "I like reading and listening to music." You can say, "My brother works in a bank and my sister works in a school," and is simple, but it's very useful because it assists you continue. Imagine someone asks, "What did you do yesterday?" Instead of saying, "I cleaned my room, I cooked dinner, and watched TV." You can say, "I cleaned my room, cooked dinner, and watched TV." You're still using simple English, but your answer sounds smoother. Now let us look at but. We use but when two ideas are different or opposite. For example, I was tired, but I went to work. The movie was long, but I enjoyed it. I want to speak English, but I feel nervous. This word can assist you say more because it adds another side to your idea. Suppose you say I like my job. You can continue. I like my job, but sometimes it's stressful. Now the listener has something new to ask you. They may ask, why is it stressful? That one connecting word has already opened another part of the conversation. Another very powerful word is because. You have already practiced this word, but now use it to connect your ideas smoothly. I stayed home because it was raining. I am learning English because I want to travel. I like this restaurant because the food is delicious. When you use because, you give a reason. Reasons make conversations longer because they assist the listener understand you improved. Don't say only I am delighted. Try I am happy because I completed my work early. Do not say only I like mornings. Try I like mornings because everything feels quiet. A simple reason can make a short answer much more interesting. Then we have the word so. So assists us talk about a result. For example, I was hungry, so I made a sandwich. It was raining, so I stayed home. I couldn't understand the lesson, so I watched it again. Think about the difference between because and so. You can say, I stayed home because it was raining. Or you can say, it was raining, so I stayed home. The message is almost the same, but the direction is different. Don't worry too much about grammar rules right now. Just practice both patterns until they feel natural. Two more useful expressions are then and after that. These are excellent when you're talking about your day or telling a little story. I woke up at 7 o'clock. Then I took a shower. After that, I had breakfast. I completed work at 5 o'clock. Then I met my friend. After that, we had dinner. These words assist your listener understand the order of events. They are especially useful when someone asks you, what did you do today, or what happened. Instead of giving separate sentences, you create a clear little story. Let us build one complete example. Begin with, I went to the city yesterday. Now continue. I went to the city yesterday because I needed to buy some clothes. First, I went to a shopping center and looked around for about an hour. I found a nice shirt, but it was too expensive, so I didn't buy it. Then I went to another shop and found a cheaper one. I bought it, and after that, I had lunch with my friend. Notice that the vocabulary isn't challenging. The power comes from the connections. Because, and, but, so, then, and after that. Turn simple sentences into a smooth story. You can practice this each and every day. Take 5 short sentences and try to connect them. For example, I was tired. I had plenty of work. I made coffee. I completed my work. I went to bed. Now connect them. I was tired, but I had plenty of work, so I made some coffee. Then I completed my work, and after that, I went to bed. This is a marvelous exercise because you're not learning challenging new words, you're learning how to organize the English you already know. Remember, fluent speaking isn't always about larger vocabulary. Sometimes it's about using little words in the right places. And assists you add, but assists you show a difference. Because gives a reason, so gives a result. Then and after that assist you continue a story. These tiny words are like bridges between your ideas. Without bridges, your sentences stay separate. With bridges, your ideas begin to flow. So when you speak English today, don't try to make every sentence long and complicated. Keep your sentences simple, but connect them. Say one idea, then add another. Explain why. Show what happened next. Give a result. With just several connecting words, your English can sound clearer, smoother, and much more natural. And once your ideas begin connecting, you want is something exciting. Speaking for longer becomes much easier. Chapter 6. Turn your answer into a little story. Now you're ready to do something even more powerful with your English. You're going to turn a simple answer into a little story. Don't worry. You don't need to become a great storyteller. You don't need challenging words, perfect grammar, or an exciting event. A little story can be about your morning, your work, your lunch, your shopping, or something funny that happened during your day. Imagine someone asks you, how was your day? You could say, it was great. That answer is correct, but it doesn't give the conversation much space to grow. Instead, you can say, it was great. I went to work early this morning. Then my friend called me and we had lunch together. After that, I came home and rested. Now your answer has become a little story. It's still simple English, but it gives the listener many chances to ask more questions. A very simple way to tell a little story is to think about three things. What happened first, what happened next, and how it ended. That's enough. Let us say you missed your bus. You can begin. This morning, I left home a bit late. That's the beginning. Then continue. When I reached the bus stop, the bus had already left, so I waited for the next one. That's what happened next. Then complete. I reached work late, but luckily my manager wasn't angry. That's the ending. You have now told a complete story. It's not long, it's not complicated, but it sounds natural because the ideas are connected. Your daily life is full of little stories. Maybe you went shopping and forgot your wallet. Maybe you cooked something for the first time. Maybe you met an old friend on the street. Maybe it began raining when you were outside. Maybe you watched a movie with your family. These things may feel ordinary to you, but they are perfect speaking practice. For example, yesterday I wanted to make dinner for my family. First I went to the market and bought some vegetables. Then I came home and began cooking. I made a little mistake and added too much salt, but everyone still ate the food. We laughed about it together. This is simple, human, and simple to understand. One significant secret is to use time words. Words like first, then, after that, later, finally, and yesterday assist the listener follow your story. Imagine saying, I went outside. I saw my friend. We had tea. I came home. It's understandable, but it feels a bit dry. Now say, yesterday evening, I went outside for a walk. Then I saw my friend near a little cafe. We decided to have tea together, and after that, I came home. The words are still simple, but the story feels smoother. You can also add one feeling to make your story more interesting. Say how you felt. I was nervous. I was surprised. I was delighted. I felt tired. I was excited. Suppose you say, I had an interview yesterday. Continue. At first, I was very nervous because it was my first interview in English. Then the interviewer asked me some simple questions, and I began to feel improved. When the interview ended, I felt proud because I didn't give up. Now the listener understands not only what happened, but also how you felt. Here is a simple practice you can do every evening. Think about one thing that happened during your day. Don't choose 5 things. Choose only one. Then speak for 1 minute. Begin with what happened first. Tell what happened next. Complete with how it ended or how you felt. For example, today I went to a new restaurant. First, I ordered some chicken and rice. Then I waited for about 20 minutes. The food finally arrived and it was very great. I enjoyed it and I would like to go there again. That's already a little story. The more you practice this, the easier conversations will become. You will stop giving answers like great, fine, yes, and no. You will begin to give the other person something to respond to. And remember, your story doesn't need to be astonishing. Ordinary life is enough. Your break can become a story. Your bus ride can become a story. Your weekend can become a story. Each and every day gives you something to talk about. So the next time someone asks, what did you do today? Don't stop after one sentence. Give them a beginning, a middle, and a simple ending. Tell what happened first, what happened next, and how you felt. One sentence can become 3. 3 sentences can become a little story, and one small story can easily become a full conversation. Chapter 7. What to do when your mind goes blank. Sometimes you know the words. You understand the question. You even know what you want to say. But suddenly, your mind becomes empty. You can't find the next sentence. This happens to many English learners, and it can feel frustrating. You may begin thinking, my English is poor, or I can't speak. But one quiet moment doesn't mean you cannot speak English. It only means your brain needs a bit time. The significant thing is to know what to do in that moment. You don't need to panic. You don't need to end the conversation. You only need several simple tools that can assist you continue. Once you learn these tools, you will feel much calmer when your mind goes blank. The first thing you can do is use a little thinking phrase. Native speakers do this, too. They don't always answer immediately. They use little phrases to give themselves time. You can say, let me think. You can say, well. You can say, actually. You can say, I think. You can also say, How can I explain this? These phrases are very useful because they keep the conversation alive while your brain looks for the next idea. Imagine someone asks you, "What do you like about your city?" Your mind becomes blank. Instead of becoming silent, say, "Well, let me think. I like my city because it's peaceful." You have given yourself several extra seconds, and now your answer has begun. Another useful method is to repeat part of the question. Suppose someone asks, "What do you usually do after work?" You don't know how to begin. Repeat part of the question. After work? Well, I usually go home and rest for a while. If someone asks, "Why are you learning English?" you can say, "Why am I learning English? I think the main reason is that I want to speak with more confidence." This simple trick gives your brain time. It also assists you focus on the topic again. You can also return to the basic questions you already know. What, where, when, who, why, and how. These questions rescue you when you don't know what to say next. Imagine you're telling someone about your weekend. You say, "I went out with my friend." Then your mind becomes blank. Ask yourself, "Where we went to a cafe." Ask, "When we went there in the evening." Ask, "What did we do?" "We had tea and talked for about an hour." Ask, "How was it?" "It was relaxing." Suddenly you're speaking again. These simple questions are like a map. When you feel lost, they show you the next direction. There's another very powerful technique. Describe the word if you can't remember it. Many learners stop speaking because they forget one word. Maybe you want to say umbrella, but you can't remember the word. Don't end the conversation. Say, "The thing we use when it rains." The other person may understand and say, "Umbrella." Then you can say, "Yes, umbrella." This is real communication. If you forget refrigerator, you can say, "The machine in the kitchen that keeps food cold." If you forget pharmacy, you can say, "The place where we buy medicine." You don't need the perfect word every time. If you can explain the idea with easier English, you can continue. Many learners also make the mistake of trying to correct every sentence while they are speaking. They say, "Yesterday I go." "Sorry, went." "No, I was going." And then they lose the whole idea. If the listener understands you, keep going. You can improve grammar later. During conversation, your first job is communication. Suppose you say, "Yesterday I go to market." It's not perfect, but the listener probably understands. Instead of stopping everything, continue. "I bought some fruit, and then I came home." Later, when you practice, you can correct it to, "Yesterday I went to the market." Don't let one little mistake destroy the whole conversation. If your mind becomes completely blank, ask the other person a question. This is one of the easiest rescue methods. Imagine you have been talking about movies, but suddenly you have nothing more to say. Ask, "What kind of movies do you like?" Now the other person speaks. While they are answering, you get time to relax and think. Maybe they say, "I love action movies." Now you can say, "Really? I like comedy movies more." The conversation has begun again. Remember, you don't have to carry every second of the conversation. Let the other person assist. You can also use little reactions to stay involved, even when you don't know what to say. If someone tells you, "I traveled to another city last weekend," you can say, "Really?" or "That sounds nice." Then ask, "How was the trip?" If they say, "I had a challenging day at work," say, "Oh, that sounds hard. What happened?" These reactions are simple, but they show that you're listening. They also give you more time to think. One of the largest reasons your mind goes blank is pressure. You may be thinking, "I must speak perfectly. I must sound fluent. I must not make mistakes." These thoughts make your brain tense. Instead, give yourself a little goal. Just say the next simple sentence. Don't think about the next 5 minutes. Think about the next 5 words. If you say, "I went to the park," that's enough. Then say, "I went there with my friend. Then we walked for an hour." Keep moving one sentence at a time. Here is a simple exercise. Choose a topic such as food, work, family, travel, or your daily routine. Speak aloud for 1 minute. If your mind goes blank, don't stop the exercise. Use one of your rescue tools. Say, "Let me think." Ask yourself, why? Repeat your last idea. Describe a missing word or ask an imaginary person a question. The goal isn't to speak perfectly for 1 minute. The goal is to practice recovering when you get stuck. That skill is extremely significant because real conversations are never perfect. You should also become comfortable with short pauses. Silence for 2 or 3 seconds isn't a disaster. Sometimes you need time to think. Take a little pause, breathe normally, and continue. You don't need to fill every second with words. Confidence isn't speaking without any pause. Confidence is knowing that even if you pause, you can continue. So, the next time your mind goes blank, remember this. The conversation isn't over. Use well. Use let me think. Repeat part of the question. Ask yourself what, where, when, who, why, or how. Explain a forgotten word with simple English. Ask the other person a question. Give yourself permission to make little mistakes. Then say one more sentence. That one sentence is your way forward. You don't need to find the perfect words. You only need to keep the conversation alive. Every time you recover from a blank moment, you become powerfuler. Every time you continue after a mistake, you become more confident. And little by little, you stop being afraid of getting stuck because you know something significant. Even when your mind becomes quiet, you still know how to continue. Chapter 8. Practice the conversation chain. Now you have learned many little skills that can assist you speak for longer. You know how to begin with one sentence. You know how to add details. You know how to explain your reason with because. You know how to ask follow-up questions. You know how to connect ideas, tell a little story, and continue even when your mind goes blank. Now it's time to bring all of these skills together. This is where your English can really begin to change. I want you to learn something called the conversation chain. A conversation chain is very simple. You say one sentence, add a detail, explain more, ask a question, listen to the answer, and then continue from there. Each sentence connects to the next one. You don't need to know the whole conversation before you begin. You only need to know the next little step. Let us begin with a simple sentence. I like reading. Now add one detail. I usually read at night. Add a reason. I like reading at night because it assists me relax. Now imagine the other person asks, what kind of books do you like? You answer, I like simple stories and books about personal growth. Then you return the question, what about you? Do you like reading? Maybe the other person says, yes, I like history books. Now you have something new to talk about. You can ask, why do you like history? The person answers, because I enjoy learning about the past. You can say, that's interesting. I don't read many history books, but I would like to try one. Look at this conversation. It began with only 3 words. I like reading, but because each sentence connected to the next one, the conversation continued naturally. This is the secret of the conversation chain. Don't ask yourself, how can I speak for 10 minutes? That question feels too large. Ask yourself, what can I say next? One sentence is enough. Then listen, then react, then ask. You're building the conversation one piece at a time. Think about a chain made of little links. One link doesn't look very powerful, but when many links connect together, they create something powerful. Your conversation works in the same way. Every little sentence is one link. Let us practice with another topic. Begin with, I like cooking. Add a detail. I usually cook dinner for my family. Add a reason. I enjoy it because cooking assists me relax. Now imagine someone asks, what do you usually cook? You answer, I usually make rice, chicken, or vegetables. Then ask, do you like cooking? The other person says, not really. I prefer eating. You can laugh and say, I understand. Eating is easier than cooking. Then ask, what is your favorite food? Now the conversation moves from cooking to food. This change is natural because the topics are connected. You don't need to suddenly talk about something completely different. You can practice the conversation chain with almost any beginner topic. Begin with your weekend. I stayed home last weekend. Add what you did. I watched a movie with my family. Add your opinion. It was funny and I really enjoyed it. Imagine a question. What movie did you watch? Answer it. Then ask the other person, what did you do last weekend? Their answer gives you the next part of the conversation. If they say, I visited my friend, ask, where does your friend live? If they say, we went shopping, ask, what did you buy? You're not memorizing a conversation, you're following the information. This is why listening is so significant. The next sentence is often hidden inside the answer you just heard. If someone says, I went to the beach with my cousins, you already have 3 possible directions. You can ask about the beach. You can ask about the cousins. You can ask what they did there. Maybe you say, was the beach crowded? Maybe you say, do your cousins live near you? Maybe you ask, did you swim? You don't need a perfect question. You only need a connected question. Now I want you to practice this actively. Choose one topic: food, family, work, English, travel, movies, hobbies, or your daily routine. Say one simple sentence aloud, then add one detail, add one reason. Ask yourself an imaginary follow-up question and answer it. Then ask another question. For example, I am learning English. I practice every evening. I practice because I want to speak confidently. How do I practice? I usually listen to short English videos. Do I also practice speaking? Yes, I speak aloud for 10 minutes. You have already created a conversation chain by yourself. At first, this may feel gradual. That's completely fine. Your brain is learning a new habit. After enough practice, the process becomes quicker. You will hear a sentence and naturally think of a question. You will give an answer and naturally add a detail. You will stop feeling that every sentence is a separate challenge. So, remember the pattern: begin, add, explain, ask, listen, and continue. You don't need to control the whole conversation. You only need to keep the chain alive. One sentence connects to the next. One question creates another answer. One answer gives you another idea. And before you notice it, you're no longer speaking in short, nervous replies. You're having a real conversation. Chapter 9. From one sentence to a full conversation. Now you have reached the most significant part of this journey. You have learned that a full conversation doesn't begin with challenging English. It begins with one simple sentence. You have learned how to add details, explain your reasons, ask follow-up questions, connect your ideas, tell little stories, and continue even when your mind goes blank. Now it's time to put everything together and turn it into a daily speaking habit. Imagine you begin with one very simple sentence. I like walking. That may not sound like much, but don't stop there. Add where. I like walking in the park. Add when. I usually go there in the evening. Add why. I like walking in the evening because the weather is cooler. Now add a little experience. Yesterday, I went there with my brother. Add what happened next. We walked for about 30 minutes and talked about our day. In less than 1 minute, one tiny sentence has become a complete piece of conversation. Now imagine someone is listening to you. They ask, do you walk each and every day? You can answer, not every day. I usually walk 3 or 4 times a week. Then you can return the question. What about you? Do you like walking? Maybe they say, yes, but I prefer walking in the morning. Now you have another direction. You can ask, why do you prefer the morning? They may say, because the streets are quiet. You can reply, that sounds nice. I usually feel too sleepy in the morning. Now look at how far the conversation has traveled. It began with I like walking, but now you're talking about routines, mornings, habits, and personal preferences. This is what you must understand. You don't have to know the whole conversation before it begins. You only need to know how to build the next sentence. You can use this method with almost any topic. Begin with I like music. Then add, I usually listen to music when I am working. Explain why. It assists me feel relaxed. Add a favorite type. I enjoy soft music. Then imagine a question. Who is your favorite singer? Answer it. Ask the question back. The conversation begins moving. Or begin with, I am learning English. Add, I practice each and every day. Add when. I practice for about 30 minutes in the evening. Add why. Because I want to speak with confidence. Add a challenge. Sometimes I understand English, but I find speaking challenging. Now someone can ask, what is challenging about speaking? You have another chance to continue. This is why your daily practice shouldn't be complicated. You don't need to memorize hundreds of conversations. Choose one sentence each and every day. Only one. Maybe today it's, I like cooking. Tomorrow it can be, my job is busy. The next day it can be, I enjoy weekends. Take that sentence and grow it. Ask yourself where, when, who, what, why, and how. Give a reason. Add a little story. Imagine someone asking you a question. Answer that question. Then ask another question back. 5 or 10 minutes of this kind of practice can train your brain to think in connected ideas. And please practice aloud. Thinking in English is useful, but your mouth also needs training. You must hear your own voice. You must become comfortable with the sound of your English. You can practice in front of a mirror. You can record yourself on your phone. You can walk around your room and speak. You can describe what you did today. You can imagine you're talking to a friend. You don't need another person every time. You can create both sides of the conversation yourself. Ask, what did you do today? Then answer, I went to work. Ask, was it busy? Answer, yes, very busy. Ask, why? Continue the conversation. This may feel strange at first, but it's powerful practice. Recording yourself can also assist you see your progress. Choose one topic and speak for 1 minute today. Don't worry about mistakes. A week later, speak about the same topic again. You may notice that your sentences come quicker. You may add more details. You may pause less. After 1 month, you may be surprised by how much easier speaking feels. Progress in speaking is sometimes challenging to notice from day to day, but when you look back, you can see how far you have come. Remember that you don't need to wait until you know more English before you begin speaking. This is one of the larger jest traps. You may think, when I learn more vocabulary, then I will speak. Then you learn more words and think, when my grammar becomes improved, then I will speak. Then you wait again. But speaking isn't the final reward after learning English. Speaking is part of learning English. You become improved at speaking by speaking. You become quicker by trying, pausing, making mistakes, recovering, and continuing. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is movement. If you forget a word, explain it another way. If you make a grammar mistake, keep going. If your mind becomes blank, use a simple question. If your answer feels too short, add one detail. If the conversation graduals down, ask why or what happened next. You now have many tools. You don't need to be afraid of silence because you know how to rebegin. You don't need to fear short answers because you know how to expand them. Think about where you began. 1 sentence. That was all. But 1 sentence can become 2. 2 sentences can become a little story. A little story can create a question. That question can create another answer. Another answer can create a new topic. And suddenly, you're having a real conversation. This is how speaking grows. Not in one giant jump, but one little sentence at a time. So today, don't ask yourself, am I fluent yet? Ask yourself, can I continue for 1 more sentence? If the answer is yes, you're moving forward. Keep adding. Keep asking. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Your English doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. And now I want you to practice. Write 1 simple English sentence in the comments. Then add 2 more sentences to continue the idea. If this lesson assisted you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is also learning English. Keep practicing each and every day because your next full conversation may begin with just 1 simple sentence.